Hi, morning everyone. Thanks, Amisha, for the introduction and setting up already that I'm not going to show any work. Yeah, I think I've done too many presentations where I'm showing my work. So today, when I was asked by Amisha that why don't you come and talk about my journey, I was like, okay, I'll try to be vulnerable and share whatever things probably I've not shared with people and just take you through my journey of 25 years of my work or how my life too as a designer have been. So it's been 25 years since I've been like working on brands, creating teams, building different ideas across different disciplines. But I think the most which I wanted to share today and is like the learning through how I redesigned myself at different stages of life. And I think that's the journey which I would like to share with you. Closer. Can you guys hear me? I think let's start before I actually even became a designer or started thinking about design. And this is way back when I was a child, and I thought I'd all figured it out. I wanted to join the army. My dad is from Navy, and my uncles were in Army and Air Force, and I was pretty sure that I'm going to join the army school when I was in fifth standard, and life was going to be all about being in defense. But I got my glasses, I got a number, and as some of you might know, that at that point of time, they weren't allowed people with the short-sighted um, effect that you can join the army school. But I still insisted my parents that I want to joined the army school and tried for the application and got rejected and I'm really upset about what I'm going to do with my life, and it was pretty upsetting for me. But of course, I moved on from that thought, and so it was for me either the army or the artist. And because my mother was an art teacher, so probably I took that incline from moving from my dad's background of defense, moving into art, and I joined JJ. This was in '94, and I think it was pretty good decision at that point. It was probably not a decision, but it became almost my second choice, and I pursued art. I was pretty good at that in during school, and I joined JJ, and I think it was quite fun. I made some great friends. Still good friends with a lot of them from my college days. So that's something which I really cherish. And I think it was at that time in college as well. And I was a great illustrator again. At that point of time, I thought I'm going to be an illustrator, and I'm used to do 200 sketches per day, and life was like I am going to be an illustrator, very sure. But come third year, and I got exposed to typography, and I don't know whether you know about this magazine called UNLC, uppercase and lowercase, and I was completely in awe with when I just go to the library and wait for the next edition to come and type. Then I started getting really, really fascinated by typography, and so and during the course, I was exposed at the MTV came in, a lot of different new television and everything, and I intentionally in end of my career, which was around I was on 20. Um, I decided that I'm not going to join an ad agency. I didn't want to do advertising at that point of time. So I decided that, okay, I'm going to do something which is more design or creative, but not advertising. In fact, I had no idea about how to run a design studio as well. But during my end of the last college year, when I was doing projects, we started doing some freelance. Computers were new, as using a lot of computers. In fact, I remember I submitted a printout in my class assignment, and the teacher was like, "What is this? Ye kya hai?" And he tore in front of me because they weren't used to seeing a printout as a class submission. Everything was done by hand at that point of time. But yeah, I decided that I'm gonna jump into it and start my own design studio. I had no formal training. I had no idea how to do new business. I had no idea how to do client presentations, how to make proposals. But probably I was too rebellious and too young to take that leap of faith and like let's do it kind of a thing. And I think that forming grandmother became turning point for me, and I think the best part of my life or what I am now was really shaped of forming grandmother, because I wanted to do something different, unlike, and we were one of the probably the first design studio back in 1998, 99. And believe me, that time it was not even, there was no term like a design studio. I didn't even know myself that it's called a design studio. I just knew that I was not going to do advertising. We did a lot of different stuff: branding, event, animation, interactive. That was the internet boom, which first internet boom happened, a lot of digital stuff as well. But I think apart from doing a lot of cutting edge work at that point, it was pretty ahead of its time at that point, I would say. I can say that. But I think what I really cherish, or when I look back to my career in grandmother, what I really cherish is not the work I did, but actually the people I worked with or people I worked alongside, and hopefully inspired them to find their own journey. Some of them are in the crowd as well. Ashim is here. Lokesh Karikar, as well, probably. Shweta Malhotra. A lot of people who I've worked with during that time, they either were intern with me or working as a designer. And now I see them really running their own design studios or world famous, like Shiva. But that's what I really, when I look back, is it's the people I shape probably, and not whatever they learned from being part of grandmother. For me, that's the most valuable aspect of grandmother. But while I was doing the design work during grandmother, there was still for me a urge to really start forming a design or have a point of view, because we were the only, they were either looking at global design studio or work, but there were no one else to refer back. And I wanted to really form at that point, what is an Indian design aesthetics? What we see Bauhaus, we see so many minimalist design, Japanese, and what was Indian design? I actually didn't know that. So for me, it was really investigating a little more, have a stronger point of view, and for that, I actually got drawn towards the city with Mumbai. I've been born and brought up here. The city became my sense of inspiration and also investigation, So I started a side project. I think that's really shaped me a lot, doing a lot of side projects, collaboration with other people, like minded, whether it's music, whether it is other photographers. But that actually helped me have a stronger point of view of mine. So the first project I kind of did was Typo City. I spent more than around 3 years investigating, documenting all the shop signages, hand painted shop signages, building typography on buildings, taxis, dabawalas, there, and trying to decode. I was very fascinated by the dabawalas, and then like, how do they really function? And when I looked close and I started investigating, I realized that it's all typography and symbols. That's a secret weapon, and how they really function is through this indigenous, each group creating their own symbol system and color coding, and that's how they make sure the the dabba reaches the right place in the morning, and same thing back in the evening. Very fascinating for me, and that kind of helped me really go deeper into other aspects. So for me, it was a multiple areas of the side projects. I also formed a music collective of underground music, underground Asian ground, called Bhavishwani. We were one of the earlier team of starting these underground parties, creating lovely flyers, inviting all my friends for these events, and design those events as well, decorate them in a very interesting thematic manner. It was just fun for us. Um, Created some documentaries as well for creative review on the, because I was investigating on taxiwalas. Creative review asked me to do a documentary as well. That was also fascinating to really spend some time with them, see how the drivers brief them. ये कर दो, girlfriend का नाम लिख दो, or I want to theme this about on this. So sitting there and listening to the client, their clients, of course, brief, and seeing how the artists, these untrained artists, create this beautiful artwork on taxis was very fascinating as well. And I similarly did something on the rickshaws as well. I started chasing rickshaws with the stop sign at the back, on the mud flaps on the back of it. There's some interesting story of each stop sign. There's inspired or a take on something, looks like an Action Shoes logo, but it's stop sign. And so I used to wake up early morning at 5 o'clock and find these places where the rickshaws are parked before they start to work. Take my interns as well. I remember calling an intern early in the morning, let's go shoot. And she's like, crazy? Like, yeah. And let's go and shoot all these rickshaws, stop signs, and collect them. And another project interesting was Gods and Robots, because as you know, Mumbai and Maharashtra, of course, is full of these Ganpati pandals and Durga Puja as well. And I was fascinated with this robotics and how things move, and light is coming out and chakra is moving, and like I really wanted to investigate. So for me, it was looking closely to these artists who are, how do they do this robotics and how do they create. So it's, for me it was a very interesting blend of technology and culture, an interesting way to learn. So sort of helped me decode in a non-linear. So rather than looking at a more informed, educated design, for me, these were the inspiration from the streets, which I helped. And since I was so fascinated by the street, I did this experimental project called the Love Project, where actually I sold love at the other flower market. I made these boxes with different sizes, which had love written on them, and put a stall like how you sell an underwear or fruits, put a stall and just wait for people to come to me and see. Uh, they asked me, like, what are you selling? I said, I'm selling love. Like, इसमें क्या है? मतलब प्यार है. And it was interesting to see the reaction. It was a social experiment, and people came, and there are a lot of uneducated people who are they approached me more than the educated, because the educated people were a little skeptical about what I'm trying to do here. But it was an interesting. I sold out 200 boxes in 3 hours. Sold means, of course, it was free, but people had to ask me, "What am I selling?" And then, so I think these kind of really shaped my point of view about the culture, how design interventions are, a vernacular design, are really helping me shape my identity and my point of view. And I kind of never imagined what these experiment and side projects would do to me. And then actually, it took me to all over the world. I was invited as a speaker when I was just 22 to Brazil, to Portugal, to Amsterdam to present my Typo City project. Some of these documentaries were also viewed there. And it helped me really understand that people are looking for a stronger point of view and what does Indian design and Indian graphic design really mean. Then for me, it became much more clearer that when I go back, for me was really shaping my design, which really represents Indian contemporary graphic design. Meeting other people helped me also understand what they are trying to do from their culture, whether it's through typography, through illustration, but really helped me understand that it's not about really generic design, but forming your own point of view is so important. But while all this was happening, came 2010, big recession in India, big problem. And by that time, grandmother grew from like few handful of people to we were 45, and we brought in investors into the company to expand. Probably that was the biggest mistake of my life. We got investors to grow the company. We thought, we've been so successful doing some great work. Why don't we get some more investors to expand? And probably that's where things went wrong for me as well, because it was not the same mindset, understanding between us and them. While we got the money was not spent properly. We became we couldn't pay the salary for months. It became really difficult to scale up in the sense what I really wanted to do. So, and I was not business savvy at all. I was like just doing creative work, and I thought these guys will take care of the money and they will ensure the business will run on its own. But I also didn't realize that some of the investors had their own ulterior motive to take over the company. I had to lose shares, and still we couldn't make it happen. And it was pretty tough at that point of time to see that you want to do work, teams are not being paid. I myself was not being paid, and it was a bit difficult for me. And at the same time, I got married around 2012. I had a baby, 2009, and I had a baby at 2012, and it was becoming very difficult to have a family at the same time, look at the business sinking, not going anywhere. I wasn't very depressed at that point of time, and how to really do. And there's not no motive to go back to work, because how do you face your team in that scenario? You're not able to pay them and expect them to work. It was difficult, and I had to kind of make a tough choice. Should I go pursuing the company, or should I look at my family? And of course, I chose family over fame. I still try to fix it at that. I was in delusional probably, didn't want to leave it, like try to fix the problem. Somehow I thought it might get fixed, but the more I try to fix, the more deeper I got sucked into in the rut. And of course, I had to make that decision. So, I think at that point, there was a big realization that I can't expect doing the same thing and expect different results was not possible. And I had to think I feel that a creative people, we really need to adapt to everyday these scenarios to evolve and say, what's the next you, right? So for me, it was more about making the right decision at that point in time, which will help me shape my career or my life, actually, not just career, but it was more about taking a decision for life as well. So for being 15 years, being my own boss, running my own company, it was after running that I had to take a job. I'm never. It's usually the other way around. You do a job, and then you kind of get the confidence, and then start your own studio. But for me, it was the other way around. Accepting that fact was difficult, but I kind of looked at the bigger picture. I wanted to kind of not harm more people. At the same time, myself needed to grow and do some better work as well. So I decided to take the risk of biting the bullet and get into taking a job. And I moved to Dubai I moved to Dubai to work for a global design firm called Start JG and did some really good work there. I got to work on aviation, rebranding an airline, airport, some adventure sports brand. Was really interesting. Good work, large size, big ticket projects, which probably if I had started a new design studio, I would have probably not got that opportunity to do that scale of work as well. But quality of life was great in Dubai. Work was good, nice apartment, everything was going well. But still, at the back of my head, I had this still from the past feeling that depression, you can say, about dealing with the guilt, probably, of grandmother leaving their own company and moving forward. So, all these kind of thoughts, I got into drinking a lot as well and really needed to make that shift, needed something different uh, to not get into the same comfort zone. And life could have gone on the same way, good money, working, but internally, really wanted to shake things up. And for me, I got into Reiki, and still I am a Reiki practitioner. I'm advanced level Reiki as well, and went into complete detox for 3 years. Really helped me a lot. And from those questions, it kind of made me shift in looking at life in a lot more differently, having a different point of view of myself as well, and helped me quit all my vices. And then for me, it all became about positive affirmations. And rather than thinking about the negative questions, for me, it was about really having those positive affirmations before I go to sleep or before I wake up from my bed, making those simple, small, positive affirmations just for the day or for a larger picture. And still, I do that practice. Really helped me have that shift in my mindset of myself. And in a couple of years for me, I did realize that life was getting too comfortable at Dubai and getting good salary, like I mentioned, and good work. But I still felt that I needed to challenge myself more. And what I missed the most, not being in India, was actually the design community itself. I had great connections with design institutes, great community of designers, friends as well in terms of within the design industry, and I thought that was the all my hard work of so many years. And when you realize it's not the work, it's the network what you create, is the connections you build are so important. And then to really help you reflect on your work or yourself as a person to grow. And I decided to challenge myself and take that leap of faith again. And I decided to come back to India. That was in 2015. 2015, I came back and I joined Landor. And I knew that it takes time for taking those decisions. Coming back was also not easy, but I had to take that decision. And it's been 10 years. I joined in 15, and now I just recently quit in January. So it's been past year. I've been really, I would say, thankful and really humbled about my experience at Landor. Got to work on some great projects here. Did some amazing work with great people as well. So I'm truly grateful for that experience. Uh, but I think for me, it's like now the next chapter. I've done my own, running my own design company, working for other people, whether it's the design studio or a corporate setting. And now I've taken a next challenge up for myself. From now being corporate to a consultant. I'm also studying back. I've started doing another management course, IIM course as well. So for me, it's really journey is not linear, and I wanted to. When I look back, I think so a lot of things which I feared about in my life, whether it's from childhood or facing problem with the grandmother, or even taking those tough decisions of quitting a job which is a well settled job and coming back. Those fears actually really helped me, shaped me in what I am, and I think for me it's being very open to whatever the life throws at you, and take up the challenge is what I personally feel is about designing your life. And this is something which my wife sent me this, which is quite simple and nice. Simple idea of grow. I think it's for me, it's way forward is something important, finding the right opportunity and being realistic about where the life is and what you really want to do next. Thanks.